So tomorrow is Workers' Day. It's a day that was established in the 1880s in the USA by a group of socialist workers and trade unions. They decided that from the 1st of May, 1886, the 8-hour working day should be legally recognized. Here in South Africa, the website sahistory.org.za says informal recognition of May Day began as early as 1895. Now, in 1985, Cosatu led the call for the 1st of May to be recognized as a public holiday, as it is today. Until that point that it was formally recognized, it was a stay-away day for most workers. So workers' rights have certainly improved in the past 130 years, but challenges remain, particularly as we grapple with the economic impact of COVID-19. Let's discuss this now with Professor Jannie Rousseau of Wits Business School. Prof, thank you so much for your time. So things have really got better in the last 130 years. We've got paid holiday leave, sick leave, maternity leave, even paternity leave. So would you say we're definitely in a better state than we were 130 years ago as workers?
Good evening, and good evening to the viewers. Than 130 years ago, the one thing that we've noticed over the past 130 years is the development of a stable middle class. A typical middle class existence, people living in decent homes, people with a middle class existence, people that can take holidays, people that have weekends off. A typical middle class existence has developed over the past 130 years ago. If you look back, say, 130 or 200 years ago, there was no middle class. Then we had very wealthy people, very poor people. And the middle class developed over the same past century or 2 centuries.
Prof, I'm just flagging now we might have slight problems with the quality of the line, but I'm going to try and persevere. Although there have been those improvements, we still see a lot of tension between workers and bosses. Often it coalesces around salaries. Do you think that tension will ever go away?
No, that tension will forever be there because bosses, in whichever circumstances, bosses employ workers. Whether it is in university management, whether it is in the private sector, whether it's in the civil service, bosses employ workers, bosses expect more from workers, and workers always feel exploited. My view, however, is that in a country with a 30% unemployment rate like South Africa, everybody with a job should be very grateful that they indeed have a job. It is not to be taken as granted to have a job in South Africa.
I think you're absolutely right that all of us who have a job should be very grateful. But do you think that gratitude is in danger of being taken advantage of, that workers' rights still need to be upheld, even though so many people don't have work in this country?
Yes, indeed. Trade unions have a very important role to play where we see workers exploited, where we don't see legislation being applied in respect of workers, or where unsafe and unhealthy conditions play out in a work environment, where people's lives are at danger, at risk. Trade unions have an important role to play. We cannot put people in jobs where their health or their safety will be in danger.
In terms of workers' rights in South Africa compared to developed nations around the world, is South Africa fairly advanced? I mean, I know that we have paternity rights these days, or is there still some way to go?
My assessment is that South Africa is fairly advanced. As far as I can ascertain, South Africa is one of very few countries in the world where the right to strike is a constitutionally entrenched right. So from that perspective, in my assessment, South Africa is pretty advanced.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time this evening, Professor Jannie Rousseau of Wits Business School.